And let's hit you next. And we are set. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode number 15 of the J Money Talks podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Jason Michael Johnson, aka J Money. We got a good episode for you guys. We have, I think one of the big things is, I think today, it's this Saturday. It is, if you don't know what today is, Saturday, October 24th. I think we got a good amount of stuff to talk about. I think one of the biggest things is today, in terms of college football, right now, one of the big things right now is, one of the big things about college football this year is pretty much we got the return of the Big Ten, and then also I believe that the Pac-12 starts either this week, actually starts, I believe, in the next week or two. I believe it is next week, I'm assuming. But I think some more stuff is coming out. I think next week or I believe in the week after, I think on the 10th. Because actually, I think everything starts. There's a couple games. There's actually a couple games there on my birthday, actually. Which actually I'm going to keep under advisement, but I think the big thing is West Coast teams sitting again, but we also got the return of the Big Ten conference football, and one of the big things right now is, let's see what we got right now. In terms of Big Ten, we had let's see, what Big Ten games was on, actually, this week. We had Wisconsin play Friday night, actually last night, against Illinois, winning in a blowout 45-7. And the rest of the conference played their games today. The biggest ones were Northwestern going over Maryland 43-3. Purdue and Iowa playing a back and forth game 24-20. Rutgers started their conference season off by winning over Michigan State 38-27. Ohio State practically on the back of Justin Fields pretty much played a near perfect game, winning over Nebraska 52-17. The biggest game so far that happened that's going on currently is between Michigan and Minnesota. Right now, Michigan is up 49-24. This is a big matchup because both teams are both ranked in the top 25. So this is a top 25 matchup. In this, there are 5 teams in the conference right now that are in the top 25, and Penn State plays their first game against Indiana, and this is the big one. I didn't watch it, but I actually looked into it, and it was interesting because Indiana kind of has something to prove, and this is like one of those seasons Indiana is deemed to be good on paper. Was deemed to be good on paper, as something I've heard. I'm not saying that but they actually have. But the past couple of seasons, they actually had proven something that they could have done. So it was one of those things. So what happened in this game? So Indiana actually ended up playing in IU. Penn State played against Indiana in Bloomington, and this is a normal day in usual Bloomington game. This is usual. Penn State was favored by 6 in this game. So what happened is, first quarter we had QB Sean Clifford, who is, I believe, junior from Cincinnati, 6'2" junior QB, junior QB. He throws a TR pass and touchdown to Pat Freiermuth for a touchdown. It was for a touchdown, get the early lead. Second quarter, so far throughout the rest of the first half, all Indiana with a 34-yard field goal by Charles Campbell, a 14-yard run by Stevie Scott III, and 2 touchdown runs by Stevie Scott III, one for 14 yards, which put them up 10-7, and then another one to put them up 17-7 to give them a 10-point lead going into half. And the third quarter, and that would be the score until Larry late in the third quarter, actually the last play of the third quarter, as Sean Clifford ran for a 35-yard touchdown run, which cut the lead to 3 entering the fourth quarter. And this one was ends up becoming a weird back and forth, as Charles Campbell in fourth quarter, Indiana got the ball back, started the fourth quarter because of the touchdown. So Charles Campbell ends up kicking a 48-yard field goal to give the team the lead, and they would have this lead until 2 minutes 30 seconds left. Sean Clifford takes the snap. He throws it to Jahan Dotson for a 60-yard pass bomb and ends up giving Penn State the lead 21-20. 2 minutes 30 seconds left. IU appears this would have been last chance for practically IU in this game. In this very game, they end up trying to play it, gets the ball at their 25, and starts off with them getting sacked. Not just once, but twice, and then 2 incomplete passes. And with 1 minute and 47 seconds left, IU has the ball at their 14-yard line. The game is practically over at this point. Now, what happens next is Devin Ford ends for Penn State. Very next play, pretty much just to run the clock out. Practically a way just to run the clock out. Usually in this scenario, they usually try to run the clock out. Usually tell the coach, pretty much still running back, when you get to like the 1 or 2 yard line, kneel down, don't go for points, touchdown. The game is over. Indiana probably used all their timeouts on that last drive, which ended up going badly for them. What happened is Devin Ford ends up accidentally stepped into the goal line and gives IU the chance with the ball with 1 minute and 42 seconds left into the game. And that is what changes, and Indiana gets the chance as IU drives down the field, scores in their quarterback Michael Penix Jr. runs for a 1-yard touchdown via QB sneak, and then does another one for a 2-point conversion, which ties the game for IU. But one of the big things is Penn State actually had a chance to get a field goal up, as Jordan Stout for IU for Penn State tried to kick a 57-yard field goal to give them the win via field goal and not go to overtime. We go to overtime. Next. So, what happens? We go to overtime. So, Penn State ends up going to overtime at the 25. Sean Clifford decides to runs the ball to the IU's 12, and Sean Clifford makes a pass to Parker Washington for a 9-yard touchdown, which gave Penn State a 35-28 lead. IU, they decide we're going to go ahead. We are taking this ball. Michael Penix Jr. takes a chance. Ends up getting Wapfiller for a 9-yard touchdown for himself. And on a 3rd and goal at Penn State's 9. And instead of going for double overtime, the tie, and going for a double overtime, kicking the extra point, they decided, hey, we're going to live and die by the 2-point conversion. And Michael Penix Jr. ends up takes the snap, he runs it in, and he barely, and if you look at the replay, you can probably find the replay, he just barely finds a way to get the ball in the pylon. It barely touches the pylon. It is the most insane, thing I've ever seen. It is incredible. He put this, game on his back, and it was a game of inches, and and I think Penn State fans, I know you're going to say, is that he never really touched the pylon. It is it was a bad call. And here's the thing: if you look at it, like every angle, you could have tried every single angle to try to prove that it didn't go, the ball didn't cross the plane or anything, but it was hard to overturn. It was the craziest thing, and this is a big game for Indiana because that is the first time. I think this is like one of their best. This is probably a top 10 win for them. This is like one of their first top 10 wins in a while. So I knew this is probably one of the biggest games for IU in probably recent years. And that is a big thing, especially for a team like IU to win that game. It is impressive, quite impressive. And I'm a Louisville fan. I'm not much of an IU fan. I just known for a while watching them over the years. They've never had the best record in terms of college football. If there's a radar of like how bad the program kind of is, it's practically like, in terms of like every team has like that one team that is practically like every team just fucks the dog shit out of them, whether it's on the home or on the road. They fuck the dog shit out of them like a $2 whore. Basically, that is usually IU. In the SEC, it's Kentucky. In the ACC, it's like Wake Forest sometimes, maybe Boston College. In the Big 12, it is Kansas. IU is that in the Big 10. And basically every team gets a piece of Indiana. Sometimes it's like a merry-go-round. Everyone gets a ride. It's just everyone gets a ride. But for them to get that W against a top 10 team like Penn State, a team that has very high expectations, that is an upset. And two, that is something, even though I don't know if there's going to be bowls, we'll actually get to one thing about bowls in a second. It is a big thing. I think this is I say congratulations to Indiana. I'm hoping this rest of the season does good. They do have a few big teams they are playing against, including Michigan, Ohio State. I believe there's a couple others. I think Rutgers is actually one of them, and Rutgers beat Michigan State, so that's actually a big game for them. They actually scored more points that game against a Big Ten opponent, more than they have done the last season, and that's yeah. So yeah, that's one big thing. I think that's a big thing that was interesting to me. Speaking of college football, let's go back to Louisville. Louisville today actually played football. This is the first home game back after a 3-game road trip. 3 straight losses. Some more infuriating than the last. Biggest thing was in first thing is in a couple games. Defense not showing up much, and then offense not producing as they should have been. And pretty much by Notre Dame, the defense woke up, but offense failed to deliver on that upset. This time, both offense and defense ran complete domination. This time they were playing against Florida State, who this season has had probably a down season, despite the high expectations for them. But this one is big. Both teams need like a good win to like build them back up, and Louisville ends up getting this one very handily. Mikael Cunningham gets 278 yards and I believe 3 touchdowns, no picks. No, 2 touchdowns actually. Javion Hawkins had a great game. He ended up averaging almost 11 yards a carry and running for 3 touchdowns, 1 for 70 yards. This one was homecoming. This is the first home game for the year. First home game back after a 3-game road skid. Also, this is the first ACC win for the Cards this season. So, great job. Congratulations to the Cards for that win. Next, So what's next now for Louisville? Next, I believe they face Virginia Tech. I believe Virginia Tech, who is actually a team that actually has very high expectations. Believe that they have very high expectations. I'm not sure. Yeah, 3-2 this season with in our ranked 19 right now. They're probably going to be ranked a little higher after this upset. Next, after that, on the 7th, next we'll play Virginia. We'll be playing against Virginia. Then Syracuse, who is right now 1-5. So there is the next 3 games is between Virginia Tech, 19th ranked Virginia Tech. Then is on the road going to Virginia, and then they got a nice 2-week break, and then they have a Friday night game against Syracuse. A Friday night game against Syracuse at 7 p.m. on ESPN. So there is a couple games that Louisville can kind of get a good win. Do I expect Louisville? Is it this season a year? This year it is a good contender year. It's right to be say for Kentucky, this is a good week for them. So Kentucky, they travel to Missouri. Travel to Missouri, and Kentucky ends up not doing very good. Missouri stuffed them throughout the defense, and then could not get much done in terms of offense as Missouri ends up beating them 20-10. 20-10. Nothing too big. Biggest thing that happened was pretty much Larry Roundtree the third ended up running the ball 37 times for 126 yards. Scored 2 touchdowns, 2 1-yard touchdowns. Nothing simple. Nothing was stagnant for the first quarter. Nothing was going on in the first quarter. Missouri had a lead first with a 7 1-yard touchdown, bringing them up 7-0 with less than 11 minutes left in the second quarter. And they never in UK cannot keep up. The only thing they could get was a 50-yard field goal by Matt Ruffalo and a 26-yard pass from Terry Wilson to Josh Ali. So, yeah, it looks like Kentucky, and this is a big thing. This is a weird thing, especially as a play. Here's the thing, Kentucky, it doesn't even look like Kentucky has doesn't do anything involving passing. It is probably a more rushing team, but it looks like there is not much of passing nor rushing. Okay, so one of the big things that factored in is the time of possession. Missouri practically controlled pretty much the entirety, practically almost 3 full quarters. Missouri held the ball for 43 minutes and 10 seconds, compared to Kentucky, who held the ball for 16 minutes and 50 seconds. Right now, it says right here, 4 out of 5 in fourth downs, 10 out of 20 for first down, from third down, 26 first downs total, 421 yards total offense, pretty balanced in both passing and rushing, 220 for rushing, 201 for passing, average of 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Per pass, and Kentucky on their end could not get much. Ran the ball 23 times for 98 yards. And for passing, 4 out of 13 combined with 2 QBs, and that is with Terry Wilson throwing the ball 3 out of 9 times for 35 yards. And another QB, which is Joey Gatewood, who threw the ball 4 times, 1 out of 4 for 12 yards. So basically this was a game that, let's just say, I don't know much. I'm not gonna say much about Kentucky bad about that. It's Kentucky kind of has a better record, but that is. I mean, I'm a Louisville fan. I'm a Louisville fan. I pull for Kentucky when they're not playing Louisville, but that's not good. Like, anyways, speaking of it, I will just move on. We got my college. Western ends up playing host to Chattanooga this season. First game for Chattanooga, and Western Kentucky ends up playing. Ends up staying close in this game. Down 10-6, and late in the fourth quarter, Tyrell Pickram ends up through a 4-yard touch, end up getting a clutch 4th down touchdown on 4th down. Last chance for Western. Pretty much a very last chance for Western Kentucky in this game. And for Western, they end up throwing a 4th and goal at Chattanooga's 4 at the 4. 4th and goal, last chance for Western to win this game. Whereas basically saying was Western going for the win or for the tie? They actually had a chance to go for a tie. Now, actually, they had to score a touchdown this one. And Tyrell Pickram, graduate transfer from University of Maryland, connects with Craig Burt Jr. for a 4-yard touchdown, which ends up giving them the game. And Western, who was actually favored by 14, ends up winning a pretty close one by a score of 13-10. Score 13-10. And this one was a back and forth dogfight. It was actually a back and forth dogfight. Western kind of was a benefactor despite turning the ball over twice off of 2 fumbles. So Chattanooga ended up playing a very highly competitive game this very season. So playing a very highly competitive game this season. So I don't know if this is. I think there is more games that are usually played, but it is a. So that's practically kind of what's going on in the local scene, actually. Local football. I don't know if what we got for Eastern Kentucky. Let me see. Let me check something for for anybody who's a fan, anybody who goes to Eastern Kentucky. I don't know if they played actually, but I'm gonna at least give a search for them. Don't see any Eastern. So let's see. In other news, let's see what was the big games here. Clemson ends up winning their game 47-21. And somehow there was a thing where Syracuse was actually keeping up with them, and ended up going for but looks like Clemson pulled away in that game. They were down 6. Syracuse ended up finding a way of getting close by as Syracuse was up 27-21. 21, yes, off of an 83-yard bomb from Rex Culpepper to Nakeem Johnson for 83 yards, which ends up giving them getting close. And Syracuse was struggling to at least get much offense, but eventually the offense started waking up and end up scoring at least 20 straight points in this game to bring it back in, bring the game, to pull this game away. But Syracuse marches on. Let's talk about Alabama. Tennessee plays host played host to Tennessee played host to Alabama. I'm sorry, I cannot speak right now. Sorry. First play, which is the kickoff, Jalen Waddle, who is a preseason All SEC first team wide receiver, I believe, is who is a talented wide receiver, great wide receiver, and for his game, junior out of Houston, Texas, 5'10" junior, probably going to receive the opening kickoff, and let's just say he ends up having this very freak injury on kickoff, and he sadly is out of the season, kind of something like a Dak Prescott type of situation. No type of injury, one of those like ankle breaks, and it's a weird thing. It is unfortunate for this young man from Alabama to be injured. I am not sure what he was going to be. It says here that his right foot got caught between the grass and Georgia's body. What happened is when he got up, he was hopping off the sideline, and now this is a big thing. What is going to happen now moving forward for Waddle? I'm not sure. I don't know if he will be redshirted. I don't know what will happen. This is a big thing. I really wish for him get back healthier. Hopefully, I'm hoping for the young man to get back healthy, to play his game again. I'm hoping he makes a speedy recovery. Now, let's move on to the next big games. What are the next big games that are coming up this year? So now that this is the big games that are going to be happening next week, for next Saturday, we got Kentucky now is going up against Georgia in a noon game. Playing host to the Bulldogs, fourth ranked Bulldogs in Kentucky. This is going to be a big test for Kentucky. This is something that is a big test for Kentucky. It's been a long while since the Wildcats probably beat the Bulldogs actually in a while. So this is a big game. So we're gonna see what happens. They have gotten close, but do no cigar. Usually, Kentucky has gone close in one game, and then Georgia finds a way to pull away. Finds a way to pull away in those games. Next, we have Louisville taking on an up-and-coming Virginia Tech team in Cardinal Stadium next week at 4 p.m. Actually, should be at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. Louisville's taking on a Virginia Tech team, which is actually in the preseason, has had some been like a dark horse in the ACC. So this is a big game for Louisville, and this is against a Virginia Tech team, and it's on Halloween afternoon. Next, Western Kentucky University ends up traveling to Utah to take on BYU in a matchup that just was created out of thin air, actually. Kind of created out of thin air. Right now, BYU is currently ranked 12th in the nation. They are 5-0. They are taking on 5-0. This is This is actually a non-conference game that was made out of that was just randomly made after like Kentucky decided to like Kentucky at one point was to play Western, and there was a thing about I think there was a thing about non-conference schedule, the non-conference game about between Louisville, usual game between Kentucky and Western. U of L UK playing ended up getting canceled because everything was going into a conference only schedule, and Kentucky Western was kind of planning on doing a game, and I think plans fell through, and BYU just said, "Hey, you can, hey, like," and BYU kind of need a team, had an opening in their schedule. Western something set up, and they just said, "Hey, let's create something here," and they just said, "All right, bet." So, and that's how this matchup was set up practically right on the pandemic. So this is a good thing. BYU. It is a non-conference game. Biggest one big game is gonna be, let's see, next big game. One of the big games is Memphis taking on Cincinnati, a top 10, a number 9 team, a big American conference game. It's usually a American conference game, which is actually a big thing. Cincinnati right now is currently not ranked 9th in the nation right now, which is quite unique, which is actually pretty big. So that's actually pretty big. Liga. So that's actually a big game. Notre Dame is going up against Georgia Tech next week, 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Surprising not on NBC, but okay. We got Wisconsin taking on Nebraska. Big top 25 teams. Ooh, we got a big one between Texas and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ranked 6th in the nation. Texas was ranked around the top 10 at one point, and things end up falling back. And then we have, which is the game of the week. It was going to be, looks like it was going to be between top 10 teams, but because Indiana pulled off the upset against Penn State, it looks like it's going to be it's probably still going to be a top 25 matchup, probably, but who knows how the AP rankings are. Usually, if you lose a non-ranked team, who knows how they factor in this loss here. So, it looks like Ohio State is going up against Penn State, but despite the loss, this is still a competitive game. This is usually Ohio State, Penn State is usually a dogfight. So this one is something that that is going to be watched very, very closely. Right now, we actually do have this moment. We actually have one American Conference matchup, which is between number 9 Cincinnati currently and 16th ranked SMU right now, and they are right now Cincinnati's up 20-10 with 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter. So actually, there's a chance Cincinnati will still at this moment be undefeated going into the next week's game. So who knows? Yeah, that's mostly that's mostly the big games that's usually on here. Some I can just say Oklahoma Texas is probably going to be a competitive game. Probably seems competitive. I don't know much. Let's see. Minnesota is traveling lost as okay. So it appears Michigan has won over Minnesota. Yep, final score 49-24. Ooh, okay, this is a big one. So right now at the top of the 8th, the Dodgers and Rays are tied 6 runs apiece. So this is actually this is about to be pretty close. Right now with 2 outs in the top of the 8th, Corey Seager is right now up to bat. It is 1-1 right now. He's up on a 1-1 count. So let me look into this. I'm going to give you guys a look in right now. So first strike was a curve, struck out swinging. And then 2 balls, 1 strike right now. We're now into this. There is 1 on second. All right, currently first pitch was a strike, swinging on a curve, 82-mile-an-hour curve. Second was a curve on the right outside pitch, which is two strikes, another curve. Oh, this time was a foul ball, so now it's a 2-2 count. 2-2 count. This is a very crucial portion of the game here. And Corey Seager is a crazy good hitter. There, so 2-2 pitch. And it is currently I don't know where it could be. Dun, 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 dun. Pitch is it's a hit. It is it's a single, and there's a score. It's a single to left center, and it is now it is a 7-6 ball game for the Dodgers. Now. Dodgers are now up 7-6 at the top of the eighth. Up next, I believe, is Justin Turner. It's Justin Turner. So right now, if you are a Dodgers fan, you guys are now might be one run closer to the champion. You guys are one win, might be one game away from winning your first World Series, and probably over 35 years. And right now, first World Series since I believe 1985. I believe has the LA Dodgers won World Series. LA Dodgers last series win. No, first since 1988. There is a chance. You guys might be one game away. And in other words, the entirety of that means also means LA has a chance of winning another championship. And that city, smug as it is, gets to be more smugger. and we all have to suffer for it. Alright. Wow, we spent a while on this first topic on sports. So, yeah, let's see. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break here. When we come back, we're gonna probably talk about UFC. I think we might talk about UFC 254, which just happened actually earlier this afternoon. We'll probably talk about what has happened now. So, what the results are, who won in this fight, and who won this fight, who is going to be, what's moving forward, who won in this lightweight title fight. Is Khabib still undefeated and is retained the UFC lightweight title, or is there a new king of the lightweights? Next, Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. Winner, who wins, and who is that winner going to be the number one contender to Israel Adesanya and that middleweight crown? And we got a top 10 matchup between the big ticket Will Tavares and Alexander Volkov. Who moves up in the rankings and is maybe one step closer to facing off against the heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic. All this and more coming up right after this. You're watching episode number 15 of the J Money Talks podcast on YouTube and SoundCloud. Don't go anywhere, folks. We've got a little bit more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Alright, guys, before we go on to our next segment, I thought we'd just talk about some stuff. Talk about you getting yourself cleaned up, making yourself have some tools, right tools for job. So here's the thing, like one thing about store bots about like the body washes and the face lotion and the face cleansers. Some of the stuff does work, but sometimes it's hard to find that right and that stuff that helps you out. The pinpoints, like everyone's skin is different, so it's different to tell. Like, okay, what do you use? Some of you guys probably use like use that 17 in one shampoo, conditioner, body wash, face wash, face lotion, more oil combination. Guys, like you don't have to go that crazy. Just use simple stuff. Like you gotta make it simple and easy, and it's something that is fine-tuned to your likes and dislikes. And there is a company that actually does that stuff, and that is, my friends, Hawthorne. What you do, this is something I did actually a few months ago, actually a couple weeks before the podcast began, and I was interested about this. And what they do is, it's like, I think it's a lab or something, and what they do is you do a quiz. You just do this simple quiz. It's like 10 minutes, okay? It's like 10 minutes, you do this quiz, you pretty much put in like what your hair is, your face, what your face usually happens, what your face is, like what's your favorite smells, like your job, and then they create like this tons of stuff like facial cleansers, body wash, shampoo, face lotions. They actually have like soap bars. Actually, there's some soap bars. And another thing that I liked is they help you make your own special colognes. Take it to you. And they make two different types. One for work. This one here, this one is used because right now I actually work in an office space. I mean, I'm not working at an actual office base. I work at home. I have an own home office. But if you're like, let's say this, dress up in the night. Let's say this, you don't have to dress, but if you want to dress up in like, say work style clothes, and I'll like say a polo, maybe a nice polo shirt, a simple polo shirt, something like this, or maybe you put on a nice simple casual dress shirt and maybe nice shoes and pants. You might give off that vibe of like, hey, I work in an office, or like someone thinks you work at a bank or something. And then you got a cologne when you're going out at night. You're going out on a date night, or you're going out to the bar, and it's for play, which is my play one, and this one works out with like what your like favorite drink is, like your favorite adult beverages. And with your favorite adult beverages, me, when I go out on a date, I kind of say simple and just have like a simple beer, probably a simple beer. And sometimes I'll go for the occasional hard liquor drink, but usually most of the time I usually get a simple beer, preferably a Blue Moon, and if it's on draft, especially if it's on draft. So yes. So go to Hawthorne.com and check it out. It is a great company. They got cologne. Get yourself up with a cologne, body wash, facial wash, everything. It's a simple quiz. Try it. See what you think about it. Who knows? It'll help you out, especially. And this thing comes in professional packaging, and it looks professional. Plus, when you stand up in your bathroom, fellas, set that bad boys up in your bathroom. Let me tell you, if you bring a girl to your bathroom, if she has to use the restroom, and you just tell her where the bathroom is, she sees all this stuff out in this neat packaging and all this stuff. She thinks, okay, oh, this guy is a professional. Keeps stuff clean. You look professional. You look like an actual man, not a child. That's how you do it. Check it out, hawthorne.co. That is hawthorne.co. Check them out. Anyways, let's go back to the episode. Alright, welcome back. We are back with episode number 15 of the J Money Talks podcast. Let's continue on with our very next segment, and that is tonight, which was earlier today. We had UFC 254. And this was we have a lot of fights. There's not a lot of fights. I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12 fights on the card. And I don't know much. But I think one of the big fights that happened is practically on one big fight in the prelims was a heavyweight bout between Tai Tuivasa and Stefan the Skyscraper Struve, and towards the very end of the very first round, Tai Tuivasa ends up taking down the Skyscraper, and with some serious bombs, and took him out with Len on a buzzer beater via TKO, which ends up giving Tuivasa a 11-free record, and now a 11-free record. 7 true falls to 30-free in 10. It is a 30-free in 10. I believe this is now his second straight loss. His second loss is in out of his 5 previous fights. He has lost 4 out of the past 5. 4 out of the past 5. Out of the past 5. Out of the past 5. And next big fight. But the biggest fights of tonight of the afternoon was probably in the UFC's, was in the main card, where we had a top 10 matchup between Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris. And this was a fight which ended with I believe this ended via head kick, as Volkov won in the second round, 1 minute 15 seconds in the second round via believed to be a head kick. Let me turn this down. Actually, let's see. And he clips him in the beginning, and he actually clips him. And this is the very first round. Okay, so there's not much to this. So I think you have to watch you would have to watch the actual fight card for now. Let's say I do not have money to watch it. That's why I wish I actually watched this card, but let's just say bills had to be taken care of. But Alexander Volkov wins in this fight. It's probably moves him up. This gave him makes his record 32-8. Walt Harris falls to 13-9. I believe this is a great bounce back for Walt Harris, because last time he competed was actually in the main event against I believe Curtis Blades, and he lost in a unanimous decision over Curtis Blades in June. So that is a great bounce back for Volkov. Probably helps move them up in the heavyweight rankings. Next, on the next fight, we had a back and forth. We ended up having a fight between 2 top fighters two of the best fighters in the middleweight division, between Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier. And this is a fight between 2 people the winner of this fight is most likely was going up against Israel Adesanya for the middleweight title in the future, and it appears we are about to get a rematch from last year. We are about to get that rematch between Robert Whittaker and Jared Cannonier. With Robert Whittaker winning this fight 29-28. All three judges scored a contest like that. And this one was a fight because both men, as now it appears that even though Cannonier threw big decision was 2 takedown attempts by Whittaker, and it appears that Whittaker threw 75 out of 158 total strikes. 69 of them were significant. 69 significant strikes. 59 bombs to the head. 5 to the body. Now Cannonier did get 1 knockdown in the fight. But this one was a back and forth between the two, and this was a great fight between the two of them. And with Robert Whittaker moves up to 23-5, and is now going to be going up against Stylebender for the middleweight title in a rematch. Now the question is, will it be in? Now, where will that fight take place? I'm not sure, but I'm hoping it's sometime within March or April, because I want to see that fight. I'm hoping hopefully places be reopened by this point. So that's my personal opinion. And next, we go into our main event of the evening for unify both light heavyweight titles. The current reigning defending lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov took on the interim champion Justin Gaethje in probably one of the biggest fights of the night, one of the biggest lightweight title fights in the history of UFC. And Khabib came into this 28-0. This is honestly a big fight, as this is the first fight that Khabib is competed in after the loss of his father to his father in a long time, and to his father, who sadly died earlier this year. And this is a big fight. This is actually a very big fight, and it ends with Khabib taking this fight in a very dominant fashion, with a minute 34 seconds into the second round. Khabib ended up winning via a triangle choke. Khabib didn't have to do much. He threw 26 out of 80 total strikes. All of them were significant. Majority of them were to the head. He pretty much controlled 55 seconds out of the entire fight, scoring 2 takedowns and just getting the triangle choke. And that ended up ending this fight. Ended up giving him a perfect 29-0 record after the fight, because after this fight, Khabib has decided to retire at 29-0. It is a big thing, and this is a big moment for him. It is now the big question will be is now, where does it go from here now that Khabib is retired? Who will compete for that title in the future? I am not sure. But I do know is that we might have a thing where Tony Ferguson and maybe Justin Gaethje go at it maybe one more time, or maybe where does Dustin Poirier move up and actually contend for play a role in this, and also the question will be Conor McGregor. Is he actually going to be playing a role? That is actually something we will have. I think that would be something we might discuss. And I think I might do that probably next week on next week's episode. Because I actually wanted to do something before the pay-per-view with like a preview with my friend Isaiah Collins, who actually keeps up with MMA a lot, and actually he was an MMA and actually trains in some MMA arts like jiu-jitsu and I believe kickboxing and a couple other things. And I might bring him on. I do want to bring him on here in the future. We actually have had discussions here and there about it, and that would be something we will be doing. But that is a big thing. Biggest thing for me will be, is there going to be, do I think we will see a rematch between Stylebender and Robert Whittaker? Absolutely. That is definitely the fight that's going to happen. And now the question is, when? I am not sure. But it is, Whittaker has proven that he deserves probably this rematch, because he not only beat a very game Darren Till, and then beat Jerry Cannonier in another unanimous decision. And now it is the fight right now. That is the fight that should happen. And that is going to be the big thing. That is going to the big win. That is going to be the big fight that's going to happen. Who do I believe? So, do I think it'll happen? I believe so. Dana White said that it is the most logical fight, but he also agrees that Cannonier could be a contender as well. So, who knows what plans could happen, and who knows where this fight takes place. So we might have something there. What's now the big case now because of the Habib retiring? What's going to happen with the lightweight title? The big question is going to be, I believe he is probably, I say the winner. I say one of the big things is we probably going to have something between, I say Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier is probably going to be going to be for the vacant lightweight title, or something, or they're going to do something like they probably could do something. I say, if I'm Dana White, I say this: you have the four biggest contenders you have in that lightweight division is Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, and Conor McGregor. I say do two fights, have the Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor fight, and then go do Tony Ferguson Gaethje 2. Winners of those fights face each other for that title. And I say this, there's a lot of possibilities there. You could have Poirier versus Gaethje versus Gaethje. You could have Gaethje versus McGregor. You could have you have Ferguson versus McGregor, which is actually a fight that's, I think that would sound very interesting to see, because actually that is a very game fight, and honestly, like, Tony Ferguson's a bad motherfucker, and that is a fight I would love to see. There are some factors here. There are factors here that it actually could play out. We just gotta see how the cards lie there. But who knows? But that's me if I was Dana White in that scenario. If I was the president, that's how I would make that match. But hey, but who knows? We gotta see where it goes. Alright, we're gonna take another quick break. We'll be right back guys, don't go anywhere with Jimmy Talks Podcast. I think the next segment we'll be talking about is probably, I'm actually going to talk about probably my Scorpion cosplay for a minute, because next week is indeed Halloween. So, you guys are listening to episode number 15 of Jimmy Talks Podcast. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Mortal Kombat. Welcome back to the Jimmy Talks Podcast. I am Scorpion. Okay, I can't do this. It's not going to go off. Welcome back, guys, to episode number 15 of the J Money Talks Podcast. As you can see here, I am kind of, I'm not fully on I don't have it fully on, but this is my Scorpion costume, Halloween costume for Halloween next week. So yeah, this is, in actuality, this is a little smaller. This is actually a little smaller costume. In actuality, this is when I got this on Amazon. It's a size smaller than all the others. Like, I think the pant size is like 30. A size is 33. It's 33. I'm like, usually most stuff is like, I'm at size 30. Other things is like, so I'm actually working on the mask. I actually kind of like the mask. One of the things I'm going to be doing in a minute is like tomorrow I'm actually going to do is get like a hole cutter in order to keep this on me. But other than that, it sort of fits somewhat. It's not bad. It's not too bad. But we'll probably get something where I can not only keep the mask on me tight, but I'll work everything else out. So, what do you guys think? Do I sound muffled? Probably. What's that muffled? But yeah, get over here! I'm having fun. So, I'm actually gonna bring up some of the stuff I got. So, this is what the costume came with. Mask. This here with the attachable, like this bottom portion. It's like kind of attached to it. So that's what most of this costume looks like. This costume is more like the MK9 costume. MK9, which is kind of like one of my favorites, mostly in terms of the mask. I ended up buying a couple of these other things. I got me a fake ninja sword, actually today. Yeah, it's fake. It's fake sword. Don't worry. Plastic. Plus, it actually kind of works well because of the colors on here. Colors, there's a yellow. You can see there's like a little dragon emblem-ish here, around here. You guys see this? And then there's this thing here. So I'm kind of wearing it on my right side. I can just do this. Well, I'm not gonna try to wing this thing. But, yeah. And, of course, we can't forget Scorpion. We can't forget Scorpion's famous rope spear. And I just bought a little set of, like, these ninja throwing knives, attached one of them to the chain. So, yeah, I can just... So, yeah, it's not the best thing. I know. Yeah, this is like a good Scorpion cosplay. I also got, I'm going to keep the extra knives, because actually Scorpion does use, some of parts of the rope series by itself. So actually I'm going to so I'm going to use that for the extra detail. And, yeah, other than that, the cosplay is pretty good. This one's like a size smaller than like what actually would work better for me. But on Amazon. But that's why one of the things I've been doing is the past 12 weeks is actually been working out. Right now we're actually on the very last week. So let's say this. I'm very excited. on doing this. Showing off cosplay. I've been actually, if you guys want to know now, I'm actually at around 278. 278 right now. I'm actually in the final phase. And one of the things is I have been craving freaking bread, sweets, and the candy and shit for like a motherfucker. So let's just say this. I am ready to eat some candy. But last week, I'm going to try to push through. Try to go hard in the paint for this one. And I'm excited. I am very, very excited. I'm hoping this, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know. I'm probably going to do is try to do some like, maybe do cold, I might do some cold, maybe do some cold shower. Take a 10-minute cold shower. Maybe a 10-minute, I'm not going to try to do an ice bath. Actually, maybe. I might do an ice bath like the Friday before. Probably, because I think one of the things I'm going to try to do is this whole week is definitely 100% try to get up early as hell in order to A, keep up, and then to not only A, get to the gym early, get stuff done, get it done quick and efficiently, and get the fuck out, and then have some time to not only A, maybe do like a cold shower, cook my meals, do whatever I gotta do, and then be able to do my usual job, to work like normal. So that's actually my plan. That's the focus right now this week, and I'm excited for this Halloween. So yeah, so far it's not the best looking thing. I know. I wish I could have done the cosplay better, and I also kind of tied it up with like this yellow clip tie. I know it's not the chain. I actually went with fake chains. The thing I might do is actually take one of these off just to lessen the. I think I might take this off, which is probably a few inches less. But the length of this is actually pretty nice. It's like almost the length as tall as me. Actually, let me see. This is almost as tall as me. I'm 5'6" when we use this, so I think with the top, it is right around the upper chest. So actually, this is like 5 feet. If I reattach this, it's like 6 feet. Be another foot, or maybe another 6 inches. I don't know. Let me see. And then yeah, about my height. Yeah, around my height. But I think I might take this. Actually, I'll probably take this, keep this off, and this would be the. And actually, when you see this, it actually will make a whole hell of a lot more sense. So, yeah, like I can just get over here. I don't know. We might have some fun. I'm gonna have some fun with this. I'm actually having fun with this. I'm excited to do this cosplay. This is a character I actually. Scorpion is one of my favorites in all of Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I'm excited for this display. So I'm actually gonna do is I will have photos up, usually probably on my Instagram. I will share it on like my Facebook, my personal Facebook, and I will probably share a couple things on Twitter and a few other things. But yeah, I think I do want to do something, because it's a Scorpion cosplay. Since it's a Scorpion cosplay, if there anybody doing anything Mortal Kombat any Mortal Kombat costumes for Halloween, especially Sub-Zero, hit hey, like you said, let's set up something. If I want to set up something, like do something like win like a Sub-Zero versus Scorpion little thing for Halloween. If you are interested in doing something like that, hit me up because I would love to set up something there. Set up something there and have some fun with this. Have some fun with it. Have some fun. And yeah, just let me know. Let me know because I don't have a lot of stuff. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff for Halloween. I'm not going to go to some random Halloween party because that's stupid. Especially, come on. We in a pandemic, guys. But I will say this. Also this. If you are correctly Shang Tsung trying to be like that tricks me being in the katana. I would love to find any katanas or some jades or some Alinas out in Halloween, and you could be Shang Tsung and suck the soul out of my dick, honestly. Because let's just say this: I have not tried to be having any fun with any hoes in a while. Let's just say this. Last month I had to shut down Space Mountain, and I'm saying I'm probably going, and I'm pretty much need to open it up for at least one night. Open up Space Mountain for at least one night, and then after that, I'm probably going to No Nut November. So I'm probably going to do No Nut November because let's say boy kind of wants to have a point of need that little reset there. So yeah. Moving on. So I think we'll move on a little bit. So yeah, if you're anybody who's doing dressing up like Sub-Zero for Halloween, hey, hit me up. Let's try to set up something like a Sub-Zero versus Scorpion thing for like Halloween, and we can shout each other out, do a shout out or something, set up something in. Who knows? Next big thing is, I guess we can talk about. I think we'll go back to sports. I think now we'll talk about NFL. Tomorrow we have one of the biggest games, probably one of the biggest games of the season, a game of the year in the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tennessee Titans in a classic game in the Tennessee Titans, which is a game where the big question is who win out in this game? Who will be what it takes? Will it be the Steelers on the shoulders of Big Ben and Sack in Blitzburg, or is it going to be between the Tennessee Titans and the shoulders of both Ryan Tannehill and Mr. Derrick Henry? And this is the game of the week. This is probably one of the biggest games of the year. And this is a big game because both teams are 5-0. Tennessee is the number 1 seed. And Pittsburgh is currently, I believe, the number 2 seed, Is currently the number 2 seed in this. So far. Ravens this week have a bye week. This is the biggest. This game is big for the Ravens. Is big because if the Steelers lose, that means the AFC North title is possibly up for grabs. Is up for grabs. See, North title is up for grabs, and it is probably more likely going to be a possible. And now, because one of the big things is for the Ravens is that in 3 weeks, is that in 4 weeks they play against the Tennessee Titans in Baltimore, and there is a chance the Ravens could play a big role in that one. And this is a game that is probably the game that determines who is going to be playing, who is more than likely going to be enjoying home games, and is probably going to be the team that's more than likely taking on the Chiefs. Chiefs in the AFC title game. More than likely taking on the Chiefs in the AFC title game in January. And who has to come in has to play the role of Legion of Doom, aka the Road Warriors, or in this case, Mad Max, aka Road Warrior. A Road Warrior like Mad Max or Legion of Doom, you might be Animal or Hawk. Which one? I'm not sure, but you probably it's determined. These next 2 weeks determine a lot of stakes. Very high stakes. Very high stakes. The Ravens, they are actually, this week is on a bye week, but they actually end up playing a big, one of the good things is the Ravens are actually going to have fans for their game. It's going to be about 4,000 fans for this game. The next big game, but the Ravens have two big things coming up for this year. Two big signings for them. One of them is the Ravens decided to sign Dez Bryant, former Dallas Cowboy Dez Bryant, to the practice squad. More than likely, probably going to bring him in. Now, people ask, why is Dez Bryant on the practice? What does that mean for big Dez Bryant? It is pretty much a veteran who knows the system, knows how to be a receiver, a veteran wide receiver, and is going to be helpful for a very young wide receiver core in Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, and Miles Boykin, and Hollywood Brown, for very talented, very young wide receivers. That veteran presence alongside Willie Snead will actually help with the team a lot. Will help with that wide receiver core a lot. So him being on the practice squad is pretty good. But the biggest news came this Friday was the Minnesota Vikings decided to helped out the Baltimore Ravens pass rush very significantly by trading a top defensive end in Yannick Ngakoue, who earlier this season, who in the offseason rejected a franchise tender from the Jacksonville Jaguars and wanted to leave, and was playing in earlier on. He actually wanted to be a part of the black and purple. He wanted to be a part of the Ravens flock, and it didn't work out. And he decided to go to Minnesota. And one of the things so far this season, the Vikings, sadly, their culture, they are not doing like the best so far. They are currently, as of this moment, I believe they are currently, they are currently at a 1-5 record, and this is a bad. And they are at 1-5 record, and Yannick Ngakoue was with the Jaguars, who just started going back down to relevancy despite having a great 2017 campaign. The Vikings was in need of some draft picks. The Ravens said, "Hey, we got a 2021." Gave him a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional fifth-round pick for 2022. And as a result, now has helped out with a Ravens pass rush that was a big question in the very beginning. And this is a trade, and now Yannick Ngakoue is now a Raven, which is the team he actually kind of wanted to be a part of, actually, in the beginning. So this actually helps out a lot. Right now, the Ravens are very great. So far, they are right now allowing the fewest points per game right now at 17.3, and is also is ranked second in the NFL in total sacks with 22. This helps out a lot. Is now the Ravens have a new new bookend that they compare with Matthew Judon, which helps out a lot, and they're receiving a young man who is at 25 currently, 25 years old, who is a pass rusher in his prime. Not only that, they also bring him back with his teammate, Calais Campbell, who joined the Ravens just recently joined with Jaguars via a 5th round pick to the Jags. So this is a big time thing for the Ravens in a pass rush, which now is going to be getting the heat. The heat will probably be thrown by the big quarterbacks they have on quarterbacks. Then the next few weeks is for the Ravens. They're going up against Big Ben. For November 1st, Ravens are going to be throwing some pressure at Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, who's now with the Colts, Ryan Tannehill, Cam Newton, and Cam Newton. That's 4 big things. And this is one of the things that helps out the Ravens, because this helps us up with a blueprint because of what a defensive team they kind of would need to use in actuality against the Chiefs. And Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, because if you don't know, the Las Vegas Raiders, when they beat the Chiefs, they actually found a blueprint. They showed a blueprint of hey, this is how if you really want to stop this offense, this is what you really do. Go on a 4-man rush. Everyone else drop back in coverage. Because the biggest wide receiver threats you got. Because if you can stuff the passing game is a pretty much an unique. It's a great zone. It's pretty much playing zone. I think one of the big things is not do a soft zone. I think maybe tighten it up a bit. Keep the zone a little tight, a little controlling, and it actually helps. And it kind of in a way sort of overwhelms Mahomes. So either try to force something up, or B, he has to run the ball, scramble around, and it kind of in a way chews up the clock. And as a result, the team probably has to play a more hurry up offense. And who knows, if you're a team that can score early and quick and efficiently, it is probably a game on how to beat this stout team in the Chiefs. You gotta probably score first, and then B, try to force the Chiefs to make offense. Force Patrick Mahomes to be overwhelmed on trying to scramble, try to make decisions in the game, and overwhelm his senses basically. And that's how you actually beat a team like that. And that is going to be the big thing, is if you're going to try to win this game, you got to try to beat us with a run then. And I think the Ravens kind of could do that. Could have done it if they kind of went that route, but they kind of try to go with more now we're going to try to rush 5 or 6 or 7, which did not work, and we end up getting killed off of those blitz schemes. This time around, this would help set up a blueprint right now for the Ravens. And the good thing is, And this is a defense that is going to be very, very scary for any defense, for any offense, because now they can just rush four players, and they can just watch you. You can just suffer. You're pretty much now, if you're a quarterback who loves to throw the football, you got to figure out, hey, to your receivers, who can I throw this to? Should I throw the guy that's being covered by Marlon Humphrey, who is practically, who can actually, is practically an all-pro cornerback, Marlon Humphrey? Or should I try to throw to the guy who's being covered by all-pro cornerback Marcus Peters? And then the chances are you're getting picked off by either the Joker, Deshaun Elliott, Chuck Clark, and then you gotta worry about a rookie linebacker in Patrick Queen. You gotta worry about Judon coming in. You gotta worry about Pernell McPhee, who is playing a sensational game. And then you gotta deal with like factors. And then you don't know who you got in the defensive ends, like defensive end Derek Wolfe, Calais Campbell, and Brandon Williams. 3 big men is practically up front. Yeah, for any offense, if coordinator right now, you are probably saying, if the Ravens are on your schedule right now, as of this moment for the next 10 weeks, you are practically saying, fuck, what are we going to do? How are we going to get yards or points on this thing? The best case scenario is you're hoping the offense doesn't score, and that is something that the best case scenario for you is you're hoping the offense isn't as productive. The only thing you can do is hope to survive. If we let you, who knows? So that's the thing. That's the end game here, guys. I'm not gonna say the Ravens are gonna win this. Could win this thing. I still say this. Chiefs are still the favorites. Right now, the favorites probably to meet the Titans. If Ravens can beat them, there might be a chance this season. Right now, we got the Steelers. The big thing is winning the North plays a big role, and then maybe focus on beating Tennessee. And then if we beat Tennessee, we can beat Tennessee, and if we can beat the Steelers, then let's see if we can beat the Chiefs. Then let's see if we can make it to January, and if we have to go up against the Chiefs up in Arrowhead, that could be a game. And the winner of that Super Bowl might be the champion, the Super Bowl champion. Who knows? So that's the big thing for Ravens. That was the big contract. The next big thing was the clown, Antonio Brown. And he is 8-game suspension is almost complete. And this season, week 8. And the big question is, who is he going to be signed to? One rumor circulated around that the Ravens were going to make a deal. There was a lot of big push. The Seahawks were a strong favorite to come in. Russell Wilson was pushing for him, like, hey man, you gotta come to Seattle, man. Trust me, we can help you out. We've helped out Josh Gordon. We can definitely help you out, man. Trust me. At the end of the week, Friday, the team that AB decides to go to is AB leaving Florida to go to Seattle? Is he coming to the Bay? Is he coming to Baltimore? Nope. He is decided to stay to One Bay. A.K.A. not the Chesapeake Bay, Tampa Bay. Or should I say, Tampa Bay. Yes, right. Mr. Antonio Brown is reunited with the QB he was with last year when he played one game in New England, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and is now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this was a big thing, that question that a lot of people were going to say. And if you look at this offense, it is kind of stacked, isn't it? The Buccaneers have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, a great running back, and one of the big things is now AB is in the mix. This offense. The question is going to be and they're coached by Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians is a great offensive mind. How good will this team be? The question is, how good will this offense be? Will this offense be a productive thing? How good will this offense be? And I'm going to keep my arm down here. I did not notice there was a tag still on there, and I actually bought this. So, I'm going to keep this down. And by the way, I literally bought this. I didn't steal this. I bought it. I have a receipt. Might have to look where it is, but I bought it. Anyways, the Buccaneers. This is a big offense that practically is now great. The question is, are they a contender? Possibly, because one of the biggest things was going to be for me, if there's any team out of the NFC that could make it out of this, it's possibly going to be Tampa Bay coming out of the NFC. This probably may seal it. Who knows? But I don't know. But football is any given Sunday, so I'm not gonna say that we should automatically crown the Bucs now as the NFC champions. They still gotta go up against New Orleans. They still gotta compete against New Orleans. They still gotta compete against Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. Now, they did beat Green Bay. They did beat Aaron Rodgers. They still gotta compete against Seattle and Russell Wilson. They still have to face teams like the 49ers and I know what you're thinking. I should say something like, oh, well, what about Dallas or Philly or something? No, let's be honest. Even if whoever wins out of that conference wins out of that division is going to be decimated. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest there. Straightforward. So, I'm going to get to the NFC East in a second. But, the Bucs are strongly going to be considered the NFC South leaders and probably a contender for the division. Okay, that was my father there. But, yeah, I think the Bucs are probably going to be the contenders for the NFC. That is probably what's going to happen. I'm not going to say they are the favorites, but they are probably they are of high consideration of probably winning the NFC. Who knows how the dynamic for AB is going to be. That is going to be the question is my big thing about I didn't want AB as a Raven, even as question of the production, offensive production, wide receiver stuff and all that stuff. My big concern about AB is he been humbled enough? Is he humble enough to realize, okay, if I'm going to be on this team, I'm probably going to get 3 or 4 targets a game. My question is, are you going to Are you going to swallow that your ego to set 3 or 4 targets a game? And that was my concern there with Baltimore, is that Baltimore Ravens, we are run first and then set up a pass. You are at least getting 3 or 4 targets. The rest of the time, you're probably blocking. You're going to be blocking. So my question is going to be, are you willing to sacrifice that ego for that team? And that was going to be something I concerned about. But I think now this one, it's Tom Brady. He loves to throw players. I'm thinking that AB can be that player. Is probably that dude. He won't be playing until next week, I think. And that's November 1st. So next week we will probably see the return of the clown show. The return of the circus. I say this. Tampa Bay, I wish you guys the best of luck. And yeah. Okay, moving on. Let's see what's going on with, I think we're going to talk a little, let's look back into the baseball stuff. So, that's how I believe our NFL's playing right now. Ooh! We got some big news, ladies and gentlemen. It appears the Rays actually got a walk-off over a couple costly errors by the Dodgers. Let's just say they ended up eating right before the bottom of the knife a couple of Butterfingers. Off a couple of Butterfingers. Wow. What? Oh! That is a big thing. Now the series is tied at 2 games apiece. Over 2 errors. Now if you're wondering what was the errors, it was a blooper to right center, and pretty much the center fielder ended up dropping the ball as he picked up, and then the catcher tried to do a simple one of those tags to home, and ends up bobbling out of his glove and ends up getting another 2 runs scored out of it, and as a result, Tampa Bay came out of it with 2 runs. It was name here. Let me find the name here. Is it? Wait a minute. Is it Brandon Phillips? Brett Phillips. Brett Phillips ended up getting a single to right center field, and both Kevin Kiermaier and Randy Arozarena scored 2 runs at the bottom of the ninth, and the Rays are now tied up, and the series is now tied at 2 games apiece. This series is big. Speaking of Randy Arozarena, he ended up speaking of Arozarena, he ended up hitting his 9th home run, which is now like a postseason record. For a postseason record, 9th home run. This is big. So this is a big game. That was big right there. So if you are a Rays fan, your eyes are on you guys. The chance of you guys. There's still a chance now. This series is now deadlock at 2. I believe there's a game. I think there will be a game tomorrow night, actually, I believe. Or when is the next game? Let's see. Okay, it'll be a game tomorrow night. Game 5 is tomorrow. And then there will be 2 more games. Game 6 is on Tuesday. And then, if possible, Game 7 is on a Wednesday. It's Wednesday. Woo! Baby, this is good. This series is intense. This series is intense. It's intense. Speaking of which, Cincinnati won their game against SMU 42-13. They are going to be going undefeated in their matchup against Memphis, probably a very good Memphis team, which is going to be a very, very big, very big American Conference game. And let's see, what else do we have left to talk about? Speaking of which, I actually know this. My Louisville City football team, sadly, is now out of the USL Championship tournament. They sadly lost in their Eastern Conference final, 2-1 to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That is very unfortunate. Now Louisville was looking for their third appearance in 4 years in the USL Championship final. Unfortunately, that is this season and as unfortunately over now. It's sadly over now. So, what happens next? What happens now? I'm not sure. One of the things I do know is that there's a player on the team unfortunately, is named Jason Johnson, which is actually quite funny to me because now I'm like, well, fuck. Now there's actually more famous Jason Johnson than me. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, will we ever meet, but if we do, I'm like, who knows, we may have an interview on the J Money Talks podcast. Jason Johnson interviews Jason Johnson. Jason Johnson, regular dude versus Jason Johnson, a soccer player. That might be done. If anyone knows any way I could speak to anybody from Louisville CFC, we can set this up. We can set it up. Alright, I think that's about it, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll be seeing you guys next week. I might actually do the cost. I might do next episode in the Scorpion costume, actually. So, until then, guys, take care. So long. Drink your agua. And if you ever, and at this point in time, until then, I'll see you guys next week in the very next episode. Who knows? You might see me in this here costume, wearing this here costume. Till then, so long, farewell, goodbye. Until then, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go hunt down Sub-Zero.